everybody, we're live. I'm eating some mango. I never know how fast it's going to go live. First of all, making sure that everyone can hear me. Hope you can. Hope everybody's good. It is Friday. It is my live chat. Every Friday I do a live stream where I kind of break it down. Okay, you can hear me. Thank you, Stephen Williams. Sounds okay. So every Friday I do this live chat. I do it for everyone who's a subscriber, which is now over 120,000 people, which is amazing. Really exciting. I want to make a pitch to you. Two things. One, if you just want to support me, just do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. It's free. It's easy. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. If you are a subscriber, tell somebody else about this. Second thing, I want people to know I do have a membership tier. That's a monthly fee. It's $6.99 a month on Substack. On YouTube. I also have one on Substack, but on YouTube. It's called the Diamond Club. If you were a member of the Diamond Club this week, you would have gotten, in addition to all the videos I made on the free side, you would have gotten number one, the full video conversation between Chuck Todd and I on Monday. You would have gotten my interview on Wednesday with Josh Turek, who is running for the Senate in Iowa. He was born with spina bifida, 21 surgeries before the age of 12. He is in a wheelchair. Amazing story, amazing interview. And you would have gotten my conversation on Thursday with Steve Vladeck, constitutional scholar, Georgetown professor. So you would get all of that if you're a member of the Diamond Club, in addition to the all the videos I'm making on the free side. So I think it's worthwhile. You can just go to my youtube.com/Chris Cillizza and hit join if you're interested. On this chat, for people who are new to it, I will answer as many questions as I can in the time allotted, which is usually about 45 minutes. But if you have a question, ask it. I will always try to give preference to people who haven't asked a question before. I'm not going to read 10 questions from the same person before I read one from someone new. And the other thing I do is, if you want to donate, you can go directly to me here. You can just go to the super chat, which is that little rectangle with the $ in it, and just make a donation. If you do, I will bump your question up to the top. Let's see. Politics nerd, who wins the college football championship this year? Oh, too early to tell. I just hope Texas A&M makes the playoff, because that's who we root for in this family. Sam's still a Cillizza fan. Hi, Chris. I just got back from Alaska. Do you agree with Chuck? It's the top state Democrats should target to flip by 2032. Seems like the state's economy is really struggling. Sam, it's interesting. It's an odd state, right? In that, like, Lisa Murkowski gets elected there, even though she's not very MAGA, and she had one time lost a primary in 2010 and then ran as an independent write-in candidate and won. It has elected Mary Peltola, a Democrat, statewide to the House. So I just think it's different there. It is like, I think the state is probably more conservative than it is liberal, but I think like putting that kind of dynamic on it doesn't necessarily work. So yeah, I think that could be a place where they go. The problem for Democrats, right, if you're looking for places to go, at least at the presidential level, is it's 3 electoral votes. You know what I mean? It's not like a big treasure trove of electoral votes. Now, a Senate race, could they win a Senate race? Could they win the governor's race? That's different. And that's a possibility. Yeah. Sherry Zimmerman, Chris, you mentioned reading Stephen King's Mr. Mercedes. Book report, please. I found the audiobook by actor Will Patton riveting. The character development believable. Will you read part 2 of the trilogy? Yes. I think the second book is called Finders Keepers, Sherry, and I've already started it, but I'm not very far into it. But yes, I will absolutely read all 3. This is the Bill Hodges trilogy. Even if you don't like Stephen King, like horror and fantasy books, these are mystery books. There's no like horror or supernatural elements in them. So it's pretty good. I like it. Patrick Murray, happy Friday, Chris. James Comey was indicted last night. So you think it was a good idea for Biden to give out preemptive pardons to people like Fauci and the J6 committee? Who is next for Trump? No, I don't. 2 wrongs don't make a right. Look, James Comey, I think, yes, was targeted because he is a political enemy of Donald Trump. But if he is innocent, I believe in the justice system, he will be found innocent. No, I don't think making preemptive pardons is the right thing, no matter what Trump does. You can justify that. I think Democrats use this to justify a lot of their behavior. It's like, well, Trump would do it. Well, yeah, but you're not trying to be Trump, right? You're trying to be better than Trump, I thought. So no, I do not think preemptive pardons are smart or good. Dan W. Dan is a member of the Diamond Club. Dan, thank you for being a member. Dan says, you have been more critical of Trump this week. What pushback have you gotten from MAGA, and what response would you give to someone who thinks everyone is out to get Trump? I mean, look, I take it day by day. I think Donald Trump's comments on Tylenol and the vaccine schedule for kids are irresponsible. Certainly the vaccine schedule for kids. What is he? He's not a doctor. He's just riffing. So yeah, I think that's harmful. Some of the stuff he said at the United Nations is just false. I'm obviously going to call him out on that. So I don't mean it to be, I don't think of like, oh, I'm being critical of Donald Trump. I take it day by day and politician by politician. What do they say? And, what can I infer from it? I'm not moving in any direction, Dan. I'm still in the same place, I think. Human NC. Hey, Chris, which Dem candidates in 2028 do you see moving to the center on cultural, specifically trans issues like Gavin Newsom was starting to earlier this year? Could you give us a list? I mean, I don't have a list. There are people who could probably do it a little bit easier. I don't think Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, has been particularly outspoken about trans stuff. So he could move a little bit easier. Gavin Newsom appears to kind of abandon that cultural movement in order to be the foil for Donald Trump, and it's working. I mean, look, you're always going to see like the Gretchen Whitmers, the Josh Shapiros, the people who are kind of more in the moderate space. They're more likely to do that than, say, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So I guess I'd say that. Okay, hold on. Haven't eaten anything. Processing. Okay. Mitchell Buck. Chris, you the man. Thank you. Feel like we need a light topic. How did you meet Uncle Tony? Is there a set schedule when you do his podcast? So for people who don't know, I do Tony Kornheiser's podcast. I met him. So I listened to him when I was at Georgetown. And then I had a friend who was friendly with Tony, brought me in, had me do a few shows. He liked me. And we have gone 20 years later. Here we are. I do not have a set schedule. Basically, I try to do once every 3 weeks is my plan. Let's see. Linda Apino. Do you see any value in the current penchant for dividing Trump supporters into heavy MAGA, middle MAGA, and MAGA light? Not really. I mean, I haven't really seen that, but I think there's like a core true believers, and then there's kind of everybody else. I would put most of the Republicans in the Senate in the everybody else category. Most of them are not core MAGA true believers, but I don't think there's 3 levels of it. Paul Olson, your summary of Trump's speeches at the UN once again pointed out how frighteningly scattered his thoughts and concentration are. Yeah, he's all over the place. I mean, I would say this, though. He's always been all over the place. As a presidential candidate, at least, he's always been all over the place. This is not new. This is not evidence that something's wrong with him. He just kind of goes. And, I don't really... he goes off prompter. You can tell when he's on the prompter, and then he goes off, and then he just comes back on. It doesn't make any sense. It's total non sequitur. So he'll be riffing about something, comes back and just starts reading from the prompter again. It's very jarring. I'm used to it, but Brett Green says, Chris is late again, shaking my head. I mean, it was like 4 minutes. Thomas Davenport. Thomas, thank you for being a member of the Diamond Club as always. Thomas Davenport says, Chris, do you not think that the Kimmel situation, Comey, unlawfully imposing tariffs are each an impeachable offense? I'm not, Thomas, so I made a video about this yesterday. I'm not a lawyer. So I'm not, my ability to judge an impeachable offense. My point is Democrats would be dumb to impeach Donald Trump if they took back the House. It's not going to be approved by the Senate. It will make you need 67 votes in the Senate to convict Donald Trump. It's not going to happen. It will make Donald Trump a martyr and a victim even more than he already is. It will focus a lot of Democrats' time on Donald Trump when I think they should be much more focused on what they believe. Donald Trump's not, we think, going to be on the ballot in 2028. So focus much less on him and much more on where you think the country should go. So to me, it would be dumb politically. We can debate whether he's done impeachable things. Like, I mean, to me, impeachment has basically become a political thing now. It's not even really a legal thing. And in that regard, I think Democrats shouldn't do it. Richard Cohn, I kind of agree with Mitchell Buck. Do you think we can get a light topic from you? Like, what do you think about college and pro football? What football rivals are you interested in? Texas A&M against Texas. Can't wait to see Penn State, Oregon at Penn State this weekend. That's going to be a big one. Yale at Harvard. No, I mean, like the usual ones. And then the team that I root for, I grew up a New York Giants fan. That was Phil Simms, Mark Bavaro, Joe Morris, Lawrence Taylor, Leonard Marshall, Carl Banks. And now, look, I'm still kind of a Giants fan, even though it's like Jackson Dart. At least we have Sexy Dexy. But, my kids are Commanders fans because they grew up around here. And also Jaden Daniels is really good and they like rooting for him. Let's see. Joe Green, thank you for the donation. Joe says, Tylenol makes you a Democrat. I don't think that's true, Joe. Vibes and stuff. Thank you for the donation. Vibes and stuff says, has Israel unified both bases on being anti-Israel? Well, the Republican base is not anti-Israel. The Democratic base, I don't know if it's anti-Israel, but it's much more Israel skeptical than it has been ever before. So I don't think we're there yet, but we're heading in that direction. Sorry for eating a mango. Christopher Doxson, high liberal hypocrite. Okay, hello. Rampaging Pickle. Settle down, Dixon. There's always Twitter if you need to vent about your bad day. That made me laugh. Terry Drew, who is a member of the Diamond Club, says, when I hear Diamond Club, I always think of Diamond Dogs from Ted Lasso. So good. That's a great comparison. That would make me happy. Slow Jake says, hey, everyone. Hello, my friend. Greg Anderson. Hey, Chris. With Trump going after his political opponents, do you think this can backfire on him very soon or next year? Well, very soon, probably not. Next year, sure. I mean, I think that look, Donald Trump is not popular right now, right? He's in the low 40s in terms of approval. That's not great. If it stays like that, Democrats are going to win the House. I don't think they'll win the Senate, but they could. So yeah, I mean, if this is part of a broader case, which is Donald Trump has spent so much time persecuting and prosecuting his political enemies that he took his eye off the ball on the economy. Yeah, but it has to come back to the economy. Talk about the affordability crisis, housing, childcare, education, a car, right? Don't get too distracted if you're a Democrat. And I think Democrats could get too distracted, and impeachment and talking about impeachment is a distraction. But sure, if it's part of a broader message, sure. Overtime with SD guy. Hey, Chris. Hello. Always welcome. Dr. Always First. Do you think the GOP will try and get Erica Kirk to run for office in Arizona where she lives? If she won an office in 26, could you see Vance picking her in 28? My gosh. I mean, she'd never been in politics before, and Charlie Kirk was not in elected office. So I think could I see her running for something at some point in Arizona? Sure. Do I think she's going to wind up on the ticket in 2028? I do not. Max E. What's the minimum margin of victory for Democrats in Virginia and New Jersey for it to be considered a great day for Democrats? I would say if Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey wins by 7 or more points and maybe 8 or more points and Abigail Spanberger, same thing. Certainly if both of them win by double digits, it's a great day. If they win by 9 or 8, it's a pretty good day. If they win by 5, it's a good day because they won. If they win by less than 5, I think there will be at least some talk of the hidden Trump vote and all that stuff. But I would say double digits, 9, 8 probably is about right, Max. Paul Michael Kane. We made it to the end of another week. Yes, we did. Happy Friday. Can you talk a bit about the fatigue we were all feeling about the news cycles? I'm exhausted by it all. How do you cope with it? Yes, it's a lot. I think it's hard. I do think sometimes you have to tune out a little bit. I'm not suggesting you tune out forever, but people who are constantly scrolling Twitter or Blue Sky or Threads or even YouTube, I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should have cable TV on all the time. I think you should have a few trusted people who you listen and watch on a daily or a weekly basis and stick with them. because I think if you consume too much of it, you're going to get exhausted. It is so much, and it's all the time. So to me, you're better off finding a few people and following their updates. Again, this is obviously self-serving because it's what I do, and I hope I'm one of the people. But I do think you have to don't drink from the fire hose. Take sips from a glass of water you've poured yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay, DSlav2488. Yes, thank you for spamming AOC 2028. I think she is one of the 2 or 3 people most likely to be the nominee. You've posted it 10 times. We're good. Slow Jake. Chris, do you get much blowback from either the left or right? Yes. Jack, what would it take for you to say the U.S. is in a full democratic crisis? Donald Trump as the Republican nominee in 2028? Because the 22nd Amendment bans that. So, yeah. Deborah Solomon, happy to see that all the people I love on News Nation are doing podcasts. You, Stephen A. Smith, and Chris Cuomo, and Brian Enton. Yeah, podcasts are the new thing. I do it every Monday with Chuck Todd. If you are a member of the Diamond Club on YouTube, you get the full video and full audio. You also could be, if you don't want to be a member of the Diamond Club, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, Diamond Dog, you can go to Substack and become a paid member there and get to see me and Chuck too. So it's the same video. It's just kind of choose where you want to see it. Tabby D, hi Chris. Do you perceive Gavin Newsom as the new leader of the? Oh dear, I just scrolled. Do you perceive Gavin Newsom as the new leader of the Democratic Party? I think he saw a void, a need for a leader, and grabbed the opportunity. Yeah, I think he's the most recognizable leader of the national party right now. I mean, I think there's a reason that when you see polling now, he is eclipsed Kamala Harris in 2028 hypothetical polling. Yeah. So yeah, I think he's sort of at the moment the de facto leader. You know, I think this redistricting thing that in November is going to be on the ballot, he needs to win that to keep up momentum. But if he wins that, and if Democrats take back the House in 2026, he'll take some credit, rightly so, for it. So yeah, I think he is the leader at the moment. Again, it's September 2025, not September 2027. So, you know, we'll see, but I do think he is leader. I think you're right about that. Let's see. A. Grant, have you considered having a regular right-leaning guest to balance your chats with Chuck Todd? Chuck is I know some people think Chuck is a lefty, or I know some people think Chuck is a righty. Chuck's like me, man. Realist, pragmatist. So no, I haven't. I mean, I'm always happy to talk to right-leaning guests. I mean, if you have suggestions of people I should talk to, people who would want to talk to me, yes, of course, always. But I don't feel the need to like balance it out in any way because I think Chuck is pretty down the middle. Patrick Murray asked, what was I eating? I was eating mango strips. I am now done. Adam Del Judas. Chris, why does Congress wait until the last minute every single year to pass an annual budget? Why are they not working on it during the year so they can avoid a big scramble? They know it's coming. Why, when most of us were in college, did you wait to do your term paper until the last 2 days before it was due? It's human nature. Nothing motivates you like a very hard and fast deadline. Do I wish Congress would operate like it did 50 or 60 years ago, where each appropriations bill in terms of how money is spent would go through the committee process and then be passed? Sure, as opposed to just jamming them all in one thing to keep the government open? Yes. Do I think that's going to happen going forward? Maybe not. You know, like I think we're in this system for a while now. Sergeant Holka, who's your favorite Democratic 2028 candidate currently? So I did my list of, I don't have a favorite, but I think most likely to win. I did my list last week on my Substack. I did my top 10 and I had Gavin Newsom number 1. I had AOC number 2. Those are to me the top 2. And there's a little bit of a gap then between them and the rest. So right now, those are the 2 I think are going to get it done. Stephen Rivera, is AOC running for the Senate or the presidency? I think she's considering both. I don't think Chuck Schumer is going to run for another term in 2028, and AOC would walk to that Democratic nomination and probably walk to the Senate. So that's an easier race. At the same time, she is in the mix to be the nominee in 2028. She can raise all the money. She can, she's already really well known. She has a base in the liberal part of the party. So it's like, I don't think she's made her mind up yet. I think they're kind of planning for either one or both, not both. Obviously she can't do both, but I don't think she made her mind up yet. Andy Smith, is a shutdown inevitable? Yeah, probably. I do think it's inevitable. I think, I just don't think I don't think Trump is going to give Democrats what they want. I think he thinks a shutdown is good broadly for the Republican Party, and bad for Democrats. And I don't think Democrats are in a position where they're going to be able to give too much. So could it not be next Tuesday that the government shuts down and they pass like some kind of extender until November after the election? Sure. But by the end of the year, I think we'll have a government shutdown for sure. Paul Olson, Paul, thank you. From what you wrote, it sounds like we should chip in to buy you 2 new clocks. So that is a reference to wait, I can't point to this clock, and this clock up there. Somebody on my Friday mailbag, which I do, I answer questions every week from my Substack subscriber, said, you have 2 clocks in the background that tell different times. And I said, well, both of them are broken. So neither of them tell the right time. Both of them are stopped. So yes, if you want to make a donation for a new clock from me, feel free. Thank you, Paul. And Paul, thank you for your donation. That could go to the Cillizza Clock Fund. Brian Trotter. Chris, can we please get a Pete Davidson, Dan Crenshaw moment? I hope you get the reference. Will someone please take the high road? Don't take the bait. I know, hopelessly naive, but I can dream. Look, dude, I wish we did more of that high road taking. We don't in politics. We are disincentivized to do so, politicians and the media, because people like conflict and people like vilifying the other. David Johnson, a member of the Diamond Club, informs me that Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin are out this Sunday for Washington. I saw that. So Marcus Mariota is going to be the QB going back to Atlanta. That got rid of him. And our wide receiver 1 is not going to be there. I believe the Commanders are favorites, narrow favorites in that game. Probably because Atlanta got blowed out by 30 points against Carolina, who stinks. So I don't totally know. Alpha Buckeye, eating on the live stream isn't the most professional look. Yes, I agree. And yet I have to eat something, and I'd rather eat on the live stream than not do the live stream. I got busy Fridays, my friend. Let's see. Jacob Kitty. Hi, Chris. What's your favorite type of cuisine? Greek? Yeah, Greek. Salvatore Mazzola. Hard question. Are there ideologically fascist people or fascist curious people in the U.S.? And what's the percentage of the population in your opinion? Sure. Yes, of course. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's well, obviously I know there are people who are neo-Nazis in America. I don't think, I think that's a small number of people, thankfully. I think there are a lot more people, I don't know if I'd say fascist, but there are a lot more people who are drawn to sort of authoritarianism than you might think. They kind of want to be told what to do. They want to feel like the boss man or boss lady is looking out for them. So yeah, there's some studies on that. It's a surprisingly large number of people who would not say, yes, I like fascism, but would be attracted to the tenets of authoritarianism. So yes, I think that does exist. Ben Trinker, how do you feel about figures like Destiny, specifically their political analysis? I do not know who Destiny is. Is that bad? I know Destiny's Child. Let's see. Jeffrey Chang, do you think a shutdown always hurts the minority group in the Senate, or will it fall on the president mostly? You know what, Jeffrey? It's kind of hard to predict. Usually, I will say blame falls more on the party in power, because it's like, well, they're in control, which is obviously Republicans. It also depends a lot on the messaging. Like, who wins the messaging war about who's to blame? I would say to this point, Republicans have won the messaging game, because they have Donald Trump and he has the bully pulpit, and he's saying, Democrats are going to shut down the government because they don't get everything they want or something. And Democrats don't have like one good messenger, particularly in Washington. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, slightly better, but they don't really have one good messenger. I think it would be smart to like put AOC out there and have her. She's a good messenger, so put her out there and see what she says. But That I think there's a little bit of a mismatch there because Trump has the bully pulpit and Democrats are kind of in the wilderness in terms of messengers. I think that's what Republicans are betting on. Ben Pearson. Honestly, impeachment is pointless unless Democrats have the votes to convict. If he commits an offense on the level of J6 or worse, would any GOP senators vote to convict? Well, sure. I mean, remember, 7 Republican senators voted to convict Trump after January 6th, and that got them to 57 votes. They needed 10 more to convict Trump and ban him from running for office. That's the problem. 67 votes, a 2/3, a super majority is a really high bar. So Ben, I'm with you. I don't see Democrats having the votes to convict or Republicans, 17, 16 Republicans crossing the aisle to vote to convict. Unless it's like some blatant wrongdoing, but January 6th seemed to me close to that, and only 7 Republicans voted to convict. Canon BA. Hi, Chris. Do you agree that the U.S. is the greatest democracy? If yes, by which metric? I mean, I don't know. Like, it's the leading democracy in the world. I don't know about greatest democracy. Dragonfire, you're ambidextrous, and I think Chuck is a little bit righty since he's from Florida. This is my point. Like, so the last person said, don't have Chuck. You need someone on the right to balance off Chuck, suggesting Chuck's on the left. This person thinks Chuck's to the right because he's from Florida. Come on, man. Hayes, have you seen any of Peter Zeehan's content? I used to watch him back when I was getting into politics. I have not. I can check it out though. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to get to people who have not asked questions. Christopher Doxson says, I have to admit, I do enjoy watching you defend your hypocrisy and double standards. I don't understand what double standards am I. Anyway, Chris, do you think we're going to have an era of one-term presidents? That's a good question. I would say we have had more change in Washington politics than ever before. The House and Senate have turned over every House or Senate or the presidency has turned over in every election but one since 2006, which is kind of crazy because, look, we went 40 plus years with Democrats controlling the House, right? So I think it's, I think change, I think the reality is this. I think lots and lots and lots of people don't like either party. And so when one party's in charge, they choose the other party. And when that party's in charge, they choose the other party. You know what I mean? Like they just go back and forth, which means that these elections are not really like a vote of confidence in one party. They're much more about, we don't want this, so we're going to go with that. So I think we will see a lot of that. Okay. Thomas Davenport, who is a member of the Diamond Club, informs me that Destiny is a far left streamer with millions of viewers. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know the person, but I will say it's way easier to build huge amounts of followers on Substack, YouTube, or anywhere else if you are really far left or really far right. I'm not, so... Joaquin Varela, just a suggestion from a longtime viewer. You should do your pitch about independence and asking for subscribers at the end of your videos. They interrupt the flow for those of us already subscribed. Here's the thing, Joaquin. First of all, thank you for being a subscriber. Second, the percentage of people who drop off of the video by the end of 9 or 10 minutes is really high. So best practices on YouTube is basically to make the pitch for subscribers when the viewership is the highest, which tends to be about 2.5, 3 minutes. So that's why I do it. I get your point. I know it's a little annoying. I'm trying to make the pitch short so it doesn't distract you too much, but that's how it works. Snyder Eck, how do you see the Louisiana Senate race? I thought that John Bell Edwards wanted to run. I mean, if John Bell Edwards, who's the former Democratic governor of the state, wanted to run, at least we could talk about it. Otherwise, I don't think he's going to run. I don't see why he would run. I think he'd be very unlikely to win. To me, the Louisiana Senate race, the interesting thing about Louisiana Senate race is, can Bill Cassidy win a primary or not? And I don't know if he can. He's already got one opponent, Jeff Landry, who used to be in Congress, is now a statewide officer in Louisiana. And watch Julia Letlow. She came into office when her husband died very suddenly. She won a special election. I think she's who the Trump people want there. So if she gets in, I bet Trump endorses her. And then I think she probably wins. She probably beats Bill Cassidy and wins. Okay, I'm going back up to, by the way, people asking about my sexuality, dude, we're not going to answer that. I'm married. I have 2 kids. I'm 49 years old. I've said this 1,000 times. Why people are interested is beyond me. Let's see. I'm just going through questions. Thomas Davenport. Chris, you spoke before about how you thought that Kamala Harris would be a good Supreme Court justice in the next administration. Is 65 and 70 not too old, 2028, 2032? No, I don't think 65 is too old, though. It is true that presidents usually like to pick Supreme Court justices who are young so that they can be on the court for a really long time. 2028 would probably be her best chance. I think that's a fair point. Harsh Bade. Harsh, thank you for your donation as always. Harsh says, is Gavin Newsom nailed on as a 2028 nominee? I love his new fighter persona. No, he's not nailed on as a 2028 nominee, Harsh, because it's September 2025. There will be a lot of ups and downs between now and then. I think he's the front runner right now. Sure. And look, he wasn't the front runner at the start of the year, and he deserves credit for that. But no, I don't think it's nailed down. I think you are not alone among Democrats liking his kind of fighting personality. No question about it. But it's 2.5 years still. Let me take a quick pause and say, first of all, thank you to everyone who's on live. Thank you if you're not watching live and you're watching a rerun of this. Do me a favor, if you are watching live, hit that thumbs up, that like button. That helps me get this content out to more people. Also, if you are not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. If you want to join the Diamond Club, you would have gotten 3 extra videos this week. So I hope you'll consider it. You can do that on the join paid, like go to membership on my YouTube page. You can donate to me directly via Super Chat, which is that little rectangle down there at the bottom with the $ in it. You can go over to my Substack where I do a lot of written content, 2 to 3 things every day. You can get free content there, but you also can become a paid subscriber over there. If you want to just donate to me as a monthly reoccurring donation, go to buymeacoffee.com. It's not just for coffee. It's just a way to make a reoccurring donation to sort of creator types. So those are all my pitches. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back in. Paul Olson, Chris, you touched on YouTube's metrics. What do those numbers tell us about our attention span? That we don't have a long attention span, Paul. That most people watch very little of a video. Let's see. Steve Pound, check out the Bell of the Ranch BOE. They have their sound quality nailed down. I am working on the sound. Thank you for sticking with me. The undergrad CFP, any 2026 gubernatorial elections that are flying under the radar that you have interest in. I think Virginia is the most interesting one because I think if Abigail Spanberger wins, the Democrat, I think she will be in the mix as a 2028 VP nominee. The other ones that really matter in 26 are Georgia, swing state, Wisconsin, swing state, Michigan, swing state. So in all 3 of those are all open seat races. So, those are going to be critically important. So those are the ones that I look to. OTS, who do you think the Democrats should rebuild around in the next years coming to 2028, presidential or party leader? I don't think they should build around congressional leaders. I think people are sick of Washington. I think with the exception of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because she hasn't been in Washington all that long, and she's still seen as an outsider, I think the party would be way better off looking at governors and people who aren't in politics at all to rebuild. That would be my advice. Tobbins Davenport, will the House pass a resolution to have the Epstein's file released? Yeah, I think they will. So they now have 218 votes. If you haven't followed, Adelita Grijalva got elected to her dad's old seat, very Democratic seat in Arizona this week. That means that there will be 218 signatories on the discharge petition to force a House vote on the release of the Epstein files. I think they will get that vote in the next couple weeks because I don't know that Republican leadership in the House can stop it. Again, though, Thomas, it's important to remember this does not mandate that the DOJ has to release it. Even if the Senate passes something, which they're very cagey on doing, it amps up the pressure. It puts the story back in the news, but it doesn't guarantee it. And I think that's really, really important to remember. It will make it a story again, right? It will push some of these other things out of the headlines and make it a story again. But I don't know. I don't know that it means we're going to see these things. Jim, thank you for your donation. Jim says, could the Democrats use Pete Buttigieg as their voice? So, Buttigieg is, if not the most talented natural communicator in the Democratic Party right now, one of them, right? AOC is in there. Barack Obama is in there. He's not going to run for anything. I don't know, because he wants to run for president. I don't know that you can put him up there and be like, this is our messenger now, because it sort of favors him. He might emerge, though, just because he is a really talented messenger. I'm skeptical about Buttigieg's 2028 chances because he can't win black votes, or he has not been able to win black votes. And the way that you become the nominee of the Democratic Party in 2028 is, and 2024 and 2020 and 2016, is you are the candidate that the majority of black voters favor. He has to figure that out. Sergeant Holka, thank you for the donation. Will Samuel Alito or Clarence Thomas retire before the 2026 election? I think if one of them was going to retire, it would be Clarence Thomas. But I would say, remember, the House doesn't have anything to do with Supreme Court nominations. So if you start to see the Senate, which Republicans control by 4 seats, if you start to see that look imperiled, maybe there would be more pressure from Republicans and conservatives for Thomas to retire, so that Trump could put someone in and have that person confirmed by a Republican Senate. But the House changing hands, which I think is more likely than not, doesn't impact this. The Senate changing hands, which I think is less likely, does. So I would kind of gauge, it'll be an interesting weather vane of what conservatives think of the chances of the Senate flipping if there becomes a lot of pressure on Thomas or Alito. I think if one of them retired, it would be Thomas. Stephen Williams says, the buy me a coffee is not just for coffee, it is also for clocks. Yes, I have 2 non-working clocks. Layla G. Hey, Chris, I just found you a couple days ago. When? So happy I did. Always used to watch you on other news channels. Keep doing what you do. Nice to watch intelligent people like you. Gosh, that is so kind. Ben Woolman, what happened to the balls and strikes pitch? I missed it. I told you would miss the balls and strikes pitch. We're coming up on baseball postseason, so maybe I'll do back to the I call balls and strikes no matter what uniform the batter at the plate is wearing. There you go, Ben. That one was for you. Burke Huddleston, Newsom's Trump impersonation will be out of fashion by 28. America will be ready for a different governing personality. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. Hertbert Hinders, with the soybean prices extremely low because of the tariffs, what would it take for the farmers to turn on Trump? I mean, I love how Trump always says the farmers love Trump. I'm like, all the farmers? But I think Trump is going, if he thinks that the agriculture community is turning on Republicans and him, I think he will work to create more agricultural subsidies to help them, because he views them as a key part of his base. We'll see. I have not seen farmers broadly rise up in opposition to the tariffs, though I think there is a lot of concern about it. So we'll see. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through here. Let's see. 9 Inch Nails. Why did Kamala get more coverage for her podcast appearance than Trump did before the election? When we were all seeing millions of views for Theo's and others. Why did Kamala get more coverage for her podcast appearance? I think Trump got more coverage for his podcast appearances in the run-up to the 2024 election. If anything, the coverage Kamala got was not going on Joe Rogan, which, again, let's not focus too much. Like, yes, she would have been smart to go on Joe Rogan, but I don't think not going on Rogan is what cost her the election. Brian L., who is the most likely replacement for Chuck Schumer as leader, and when will this happen? Well, there's a couple options there. Patty Murray is in leadership already, and she's been in the Senate a long time, a woman, right? Which the party hasn't really had in the Senate leader job. Chris Van Hollen, I think, would be interested in that job. Chris Coons from Delaware, I think, would be interested in that job. Maybe Cory Booker, if he, doesn't run for president or loses for president, would be interested in that job. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else obvious. I think what's his name from Brian Schatz from Hawaii would be interested in that job. So I think there's a bunch of people, all of whom are, well, not all of them, but most of them are significantly younger than Schumer. Los Angeles, I really don't understand why people are angry with Kamala. Well, I'm certainly not angry with Kamala Harris. I mean, I wrote a piece that got a lot of attention on Substack um, uh, about how I think Kamala Harris is just not a very good candidate. And I went back through all of her races, going all the way back to the 2010 state attorney general's race in California. I would urge you to read that. I just don't think she's a good candidate. I'm not angry at her. Like, I don't dislike her. I don't have any particular feelings about her or any of these other people. I cover them. I'm not invested in them. Why would some Democrats be angry at Harris? I don't know, because she lost to Trump. I mean, like, I'm not sure that was a winnable race anyway, but I guess if people are angry, that would be why. Daniel Kent says, I'm pissed with Kamala. There you go. Daniel, you have to explain your thinking. Let's see. Hold on. I'm just scrolling back up. I want to make sure I didn't miss people. If I missed you, if you made a donation and I missed you, please tell me. Rick's Republic question. Why doesn't any Republican member of Congress with law background ever call out the president for violating established statutory law as well as the Constitution itself? Because they're afraid of him. That was easy. Daniel Goncalves. Yo, I laughed when you said Destiny's Child. That was Beyonce's group, Destiny's Child. That was the Destiny I know. I'm old. Hold on. I'm just Joaquin Varela. Hi, Chris. What would Democrats do if they got the House next year? What if they got both the House and Senate? Well, it's still hard to sort of get legislation through if you don't have the presidency, and Donald Trump's going to be president through 2028. If they get the House, I think they'll do a lot of oversight, bringing Trump administration officials to get, to Congress to testify about stuff that they think is wrong. But I would advise them to do some policymaking too. Try just pass some stuff on immigration, pass some stuff on the economy and affordability. It's not going to become law, even if they control the Senate, because Trump will probably veto it. But I think they would be smart to do that as opposed to just talking about Trump. By the way, we're over 300 people live on this. This is amazing. I'm going to keep going for a little while longer. Max E, do you have any thoughts about what the DNC should do about its 2028 primary calendar in terms of smart politics? And in his opinion, New Hampshire 1, Nevada 2, South Carolina 3, Iowa 4. I think New Hampshire will go first. And then, it could be South Carolina. I think Iowa is, you're right. If they're going to use those 4, I think Iowa's probably going to go last in there. So I agree with New Hampshire. I might switch Nevada and South Carolina, put South Carolina second, Nevada third, and then Iowa fourth. But something like that, I think is probably right. Rusty says, we have a leadership problem on both sides. Couldn't agree more. Andy H. Hey, Chris, if and when a shutdown happens, how long do you think it will last? A week? 10 days? It's a guess. I mean, I don't know. Bill Reeve, I live in California. I just saw an ad for yes on the redistricting initiative with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Do you think this will help to get it passed? Yes, because look, what Democrats have clearly decided in California is all they need to do is get their base to vote for that redistricting proposal and cast it as you have to do this as a way to put a curb on Donald Trump. They're not really trying to reach out to the middle. They're not really trying to reach out to Republicans. It's basically like, if we can get all of our people to vote, we'll win. They're probably right. It's California. And AOC is an extremely popular figure in the Democratic base. That's why they're doing that. I capture images. Are you completely averse to commenting on conspiracy theories? Are there any surrounding current events you think show any promise or merit? Yes, I am averse to commenting on conspiracy theories. Yes. Isaac Westerling Sauer. Hey, Chris, why was Whitmer so low on your potential for 2028? How is Zelda gaming going? On the Zelda gaming, I still haven't done it. For people who follow this regularly, I really need to. I want to do the 2 new-ish Zelda games. Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. I'm screwing that up potentially. I have not done it. I'll show you right here. I have my Switch. Oh dear, I did something to it. So I'm ready to play. It's fully charged. I have not made time for it. Your other question, why was Whitmer so low? I've not been impressed by what she's done so far, Isaac. I think, the weird, like putting the folders over her face when she was in the Oval Office with Trump, and then she's kind of disappeared. I just think other people have passed her for now. But remember, it's like a horse race. At the quarter pole, it doesn't really matter who's ahead. We can talk about who's ahead, but it doesn't really matter. You got to be ahead at the end. Daniel Hoffman, why did you say the auto pen was a conspiracy theory? Well, no, I mean, first of all, I didn't say the auto pen was a conspiracy theory. I don't think. What I said was Joe Biden definitely used the auto pen, but so did Donald Trump and Barack Obama. And like the conspiracy theory, because I haven't seen any evidence of it, is that like he wasn't in charge of it, and that, like Elizabeth Warren was. That doesn't make sense to me. I've not seen any evidence of that. That's what I would say is a conspiracy theory, not that Joe Biden used it. Valerie, hi, Chris. Been watching you for years. Subscribe when you turned up on my YouTube feed. Thanks for what you do. Trust your opinions. I've always appreciated your honesty. Love from SoCal. Thank you. Okay, Daniel Kent has his reasoning for why he's pissed with Kamala. Here it is. When does anyone take responsibility for anything? Where was all her candidateness on the campaign trail? Yes, agree. She's better now than she was then. Jeremy McMillan, when was Trump's win in the 2024 race inevitable? When Biden decided to run for a second term and when he didn't do anything in terms of like hard and fast policy things when it comes to lowering prices, everyday prices, grocery prices, or at the border. Don Nerdleon, what is your favorite video game? I mean, this is like old. I mean, my original Legend of Zelda was probably my favorite game. I love Donkey Kong. I graduated from college in 1998. So I love Mortal Kombat on the Sega. Was it Sega or was it Xbox? I don't remember. But since then, I have not played a ton of video games, and I'm trying to get back into it. Michael Draper, who is a member of the Diamond Club, which you can be by hitting the membership tab on my page, says, do you watch C-SPAN for fun? Yes. Let's see. MJ Jewell, Democrats should run on healthcare and restoring faith in the CDC and against Secretary Robert Kennedy. I think that could be a part of it in 2026, MJ, but I don't think that's the main message. The main message has to be the economy. Donald Trump said he would lower prices in everyday goods, and he hasn't. To me, that's the key. Don't get it twisted, in my opinion, on that. Those other things can matter in the longer run, but like they can be part of a broader argument, but they can't be the central part of the argument, I think. Layla G says, Patty Murray is my senator and she's amazing. Truly here for the people. Yeah, she could be. The only problem for Patty Murray is she's not young. Do they want to go from Schumer, who's, in his mid 70s, to someone who is also in their mid 70s, or are they willing to kind of, or do they want to go younger? Doug H, no question. But Doug, that is an incredibly kind donation. Doug says, no question, but in my best streamer voice, smash that like button. Yeah, hit that like button, folks. Let me see if there's anybody else. Doug, thank you for that donation. It's very much appreciated. Trevin says ABACABB, the blood code for Mortal Kombat on Genesis. Also, I was telling my wife about the Contra code that to just keep spawning life. Do you remember Contra? You're like running up the screen and it's like ABBABB, down, up, start. I remembered it for like 20 years. And now I don't remember it anymore. Maxwell Feiner, will Jim Comey go to jail? No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think he'll be convicted. And if he's convicted, he's not going to jail. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do for now. I would say, look, if you, the two things you can do that are easy is to hit that thumbs up button. We have 103 likes. Just get it up there to 150 or so if you can. And hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. Those are easy. If you want to support me financially, you can make a super chat donation. You can become a member of the Diamond Club, where you're going to get 1 to 3 or 4 extra videos every single week. Just go to the membership tab on my YouTube page and do that. You also can go over to Substack, my newsletter. You get it in your email inbox 2 to 3 times a day. You can go over there. You can support me over there. There's free content over there. There's also paid content. Paid is $6 a month or $60 for a year. If you want to go to buymeacoffee.com and make a monthly reoccurring donation, you can do that. Look, this is what I always say, and I'll say this at the end. All of these donations go directly to me to support this journalism, to support this analysis, to support me being able to do this stuff and bring this content to you, whether it's video, written, audio, whatever. If you believe in independent journalism that is independent from big corporate media, but also independent from just being a party apparatchik of the right or left, you need to support it. You don't necessarily need to support me, but support someone who's in that space or some ones who are in that space, because without it, it won't exist. So put your money where your mouth is, support either me or someone else doing something similar to me. And most importantly, take care of yourselves, be safe, have a good weekend, and I will be back next week.